Welcome to the Meria Heller Show, on the net since 2000 and still going strong. If you feel like you're not getting the real news, if you feel like you're not connected spiritually, you have found your home. Meria covers a wide range of topics as only a snarky New Yorker can. Straight up, no chaser. No censorship, no corporate sponsors, thus true freedom of speech. Your subscription gives you unlimited access as a member of the smartest audience on earth. Relax and enjoy the education. Now here's Meria.
Good morning, world. Meria here, alive and kicking. And welcome to Awaken with Meria and Monnica. Today we have a good show for you. I have my great friend and absolutely gifted woman, Monnica Sepulveda, with me. If you're not familiar with Monica's work, get over to Monnica with 2 N's.com. She's phenomenal. I will tell you this, it's one of the best appreciated shows I've put up on YouTube. And all I get is I love you girls, hearts and love and no nastiness, which is unusual to say the least. So, good morning, Monnica.
Well, we're the M&Ms with nuts.
I would say something else, but the people might misinterpret it as something dirty. So I won't. I'm going to try to keep my mouth clean today. So
why?
It could happen. Well, you know, I like to send these shows to Gary Null's network, and I don't know what his rules are there. So we'll see wherever it goes. Anyway, you were going through a little bit of craziness a couple of weeks ago.
A little bit.
And I don't know. And I'm really glad that you let me know when it's happening, because a lot of my clients don't. They wait till they're like desperate and have gone, completely bonkers before they call me, when I could have saved them so much problems. Because
well, you told me about 2 weeks before it even happened, you said that there's some leakage of this negative, almost evil demonic energy that's trying to get through. And you said clear your chakras. And when you first said that to me, I kind of laughed and I thought, what is she talking about? I surround myself in this beautiful God's light every day, and I'm like, but my thoughts were changing, Meria. And the thing about it is all my readings, whether it be mediumship or a regular reading session, I was receiving lots of information for everybody else that was extremely accurate. But I kept saying to myself, why do I feel cut off? I usually get information from me and direction like every morning. When I meditate, nothing was coming through. It's almost like someone shut the door. And then all of a sudden, my personality started to change, and I kept thinking, I'm shut off. Wait a minute. Where is God? How come this isn't happening? And then it went to, I don't believe in God anymore. Cancel. God is not my source and supply. Cancel, because we can't say that to our brain because it records everything literally. So you always say cancel if you say a negative word about yourself. So it got to the point where I just said, I don't believe anymore. I don't, yada, yada. Oh, I was going nuts. And it was like, all of a sudden, I just thought, wait a minute. Meria had told me something about this, and it feels like something took over my thinking. So, I called the Unity Prayer Group, which says prayers for you, and it's free service. And they kept saying, clear your thinking. You're not thinking the right thoughts. Clear your thinking. And everything boiled back to my thinking. And so all of a sudden I just yelled out loud and I said, get the F out of me. We're not swearing, right?
Right.
Get the F out of me. You're not welcome. You don't own me. You don't control me. My source is God, my higher power, the source of love. That is who provides and takes care of me now. And within it was almost like I saw this darkness like moving out of me and running out of my house. It was that fast. It can happen that quickly to overtake our thinking, and it can also leave us quickly as soon as we declare what is our source and supply and what we believe in, which is love. And so I snapped out of it so fast. And then the interesting part was that within about an hour, everything that had been blocked from me was starting to pour in. It was almost like I saw an image of a dam just flowing through with everything that I needed and wanted, and it just did a 180. So I wanted to tell you the story because Meria told me, and if she gives you a reading and tells you that there's something going on, pay attention to her, okay? Even though I was thinking to myself, nah, she can't be right this time around. She was right. So I did all this, and it turned it around, and I was like, I've never stopped connecting to my source, the source of love, which is what provides all things for all of us. And it was like it was like a transformation and experience that I've never been through. And, I've been doing this work. I've been receiving even my first message as a medium. I was 11 years old, and that's 1962. So now you know how old I am. And, I've always been telepathic, but then when it came to stuff in the morning, I kept saying, why am I blocked? Cancel, cancel. Why am I not receiving anything? Cancel, cancel. I'm not getting visitations from my spirit guides or extraterrestrials or anything, which I usually do daily. And now I am, of course, but the others cancel, cancel. I'm just telling you, when I grew up, my mother always said, if you say a negative word, your brain's going to record it literally, and you have to say cancel, cancel. That gives it the message to delete what you just said. So that's a really good idea, by the way, because it works.
Right.
So I wanted to tell you this experience because after doing this for so many years, professionally for 47 years, as of May 15th, it was 47 years. And this happened to me, this liberation that I had from that energy happened on May 15th of this, just a couple weeks ago or a week ago. And I thought that was kind of ironic. I looked at the calendar of my, when I was ordained a minister with a spiritualist metaphysical church back in 1972, and I looked at the date and I went, wow, today's my 47th anniversary, and look at what happened. So I thought that was kind of interesting, but I wanted to tell this story because, A, you told me about it, but I didn't believe you, and then it happened, and then I knew exactly what to do to get out of it. So if you ever get into a negative mindset where you're thinking that you don't have enough, or that, you're not prospering, or that your health is bad or whatever, all you have to do is just say, no, I refuse this, get out of my being, get out of my head. You are not real. You are lies. That's not an option. My truth is that I'm connected to my higher power, the source, the universe, the I am, the spirit, love, God, whatever you want to call it, doesn't care. I'm linked to that, and that's who provides me constantly. And then you'll watch a shift in your life happen. Everything increases, including your income, your health, your surroundings, the things that you attract. Everything just shifts that quickly. And Meria, I think you and I know that as teachers who've been dedicating our lives to doing this work, sometimes we have the hardest lessons.
Oh, of course.
You got it, right? And I think that happens because we need to have answers, because we talk to so many people and they all go through similar things. But when we go through it first, we find the solution and then have the information we need to help others.
Absolutely. And that goes for so many different things. But right now, before we go any further, because as you're talking, it's something I want to remind my audience of, especially new listeners. Go into the archives, and there is an interview with Eldon Taylor on his book, Mind Programming. It's one of the best books on techniques of how to flip that switch in your brain from negative to positive. And it also comes with a CD with subliminals, good subliminal messages. I test everything before I ever put it on my show. That you can just play in the background of your life to keep your thinking positive. Listen, Monica, we're living in a time where anybody of light is attracting darkness. The darkness doesn't want light to show on an extremely negative, fearful energy that's surrounding this planet. So even when you are, some people call themselves light workers, whatever you want to call yourself, whatever healing art you happen to be in, you have to never let your guard down in these days, because the energy out there wants to stop it. It's like stopping any voice that's speaking truth in a censorship society now. And it gets, the attacks become sneakier and sneakier. And sometimes they'll come from people closest to you. It's almost like a spirit enters them to torture you for a while and then exits. But the way
Exactly. And that did happen to me, Meria. With my family, I'm like, whoa. I've studied and I'm a certified therapist with neurolinguistics, so I know how something can leak in and sneak in when illogical things start to happen and your mind starts to make sense of something. It opens up your subconscious, and anything negative can slip right in. This is how you brainwash people. You see a bunch of gibberish stuff, and people are going, what does that mean? And as soon as they're questioning something and searching the logic, searching for an answer, the subconscious is wide open, and any kind of negative sublingual or any kind of input can actually go into the mind, and that's how they snuck it in. I was trying to make sense of my life because it wasn't logical any longer. cancel. And then it slipped in, and then it took over by changing my thoughts, but yet I was perceptive enough to read for other people, you know?
Right.
So I didn't think anything was happening to me, and
Right.
it was.
Right. Well, it reminds me of, I don't know if you remember, God, I'm trying to remember that TV show with the Candid Camera. You remember the little jingle from Candid Camera where it was basically when you least expect it, you're elected?
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens. When you least expect it, you're elected. And this is why I keep reminding people, even at the end of my news shows, whatever your spiritual program is, work it twice a day. You can't afford to not do it anymore, and you have to amp it up. But on the plus side, even though I said light attracts darkness, light also chases darkness.
Oh my gosh, it ran out of here so fast. It was like, because I'm very clairvoyant, and I was able to see that darkness just run out the front door. And I said, "You thought you were so strong." And this is what I started laughing at. As much as the negativity is on this planet and it's fear based, I thought, you're not that strong. As soon as the light showed up, you took off. So I thought, we are so empowered. All we have to do is say no. That's not, because, I have been staying away from the news except listening to you because you tell the truth, and I really trust you. And as I'm listening to some of this stuff, which can be very terrifying, I thought, okay, input data, note taken, not going to connect to it.
Right.
And as soon as this light pours through, no thing, that's why I say nothing, no thing can control. Especially when you say the light washes out darkness, period, and the subject. And that's what happened to me. And then all of a sudden I came back. My personality came back, and I had people praying for me because I didn't know what was going on. All I knew is that, I felt like I was drowning. And then as soon as I got the message, get centered now, push out those thoughts, I just did it, and then all the words came through. It's like, I know it sounds corny to say this, but it was almost like a savior came through, whether it be at an extraterrestrial or whether it was a spirit guide or an archangel or whatever, or God, the love of God coming through, or whatever you want to call it. Something said to me, and it was clear. So, I'm a telepath, so this was loud and clear, and they just said, get centered, change your thoughts now. And I did, and that just like everything I needed to do just showed up. So I wanted to share this story with people because if we allow ourselves to be overtaken by the stuff that we're hearing on the news,
Right.
then we're just contributing more fear to that agenda.
Well, imagine if I got attached to the news that I have been blasting out for 20 years. I'd probably be in a mental asylum. So it's like, I get very passionate when I'm delivering it. And yes, I know what I'm talking about. But like I told people, I was on Richard Grove's conference meeting with his autonomy group on Sunday. And I said, I reminded them, remember, none of this is real. To me, I'm just a reporter. I'm just here from the future recording, taking these stories elsewhere. I don't get attached to it. And again, go back to Buddha. Buddha taught not to be attached to your emotions. He didn't mean that we can't have emotions, but you can't allow your emotions to control your life.
Absolutely. I read a quotation that says, emotions are temporary, so let them come and let them go. And what was shown to me is like a parade, when you're watching a parade, how it comes toward you, a float, and then it stops in front of you for a while, but then it keeps going. And I thought, well, that's an interesting analogy. Treat emotions like that. You can observe it, you can feel things, and if it triggers an emotion that was perhaps buried within you from the past, appropriately release that, and I know how to do that. Right. So I watch it and I go, this was different. This was something that snuck in while I was trying to make logical sense of something, and it went right into my subconscious until it took. And the process took 2 weeks, by the way, for it to, actually go into my consciousness where I was condemning everything that was of love and good. Can you imagine me doing that?
No.
Oh my gosh!
I know you were in a really bad way, so I'm glad I was able to lasso you back into reality.
You were, but you also warned me. You also warned me a good 2 weeks before it happened. And I just thought, okay, yeah, right. So I was clearing my chakras, especially the third one, because I thought it was emotional, but it wasn't. It was mental. I should have been listening to, in the key of A, for the pituitary and pineal glands, which is the right brain. I should have been listening to that, and also looking at the color indigo, because when you do that, again, it heals everything. It pushes out all the negativity. And I didn't. I went to my emotional center.
Right.
That wasn't where I needed to be.
Right. Well, for all the years that I've been reading for people, I very rarely ever really see any real attachment to them or any real psychic attack, even though they think that they're under a psychic attack. It's been very rare that I would actually say, well, you're right, you have an attachment here. Mm-hmm. But what I find in the last few months, that happening to what I'll call my top clients, very successful people, very happy people that are making a difference in the world. And then all of a sudden they find themselves, crying like babies, just totally distraught. So I am seeing more legitimately, not like most psychics you go into, on a storefront where of course they're going to tell you have a curse or whatever, because that's how they make their money. Then the next thing you know, you're in for $10,000 worth of candle magic.
Exactly.
But, listen, if you can never afford to let your guard down. A lot of us have a lot of strong protection around us, but sometimes our guides get fatigued. They say, okay, she's drawing the same lesson to herself. How many times do we have to pick her up off the floor? Mm-hmm. So sometimes we have to take responsibility for ourselves on a spiritual level and really take a good look and say, okay, why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah, we have to stay on top of anything such as fear, worry, or doubt. Those are the big ones.
All right, but I also want people to know, these things exist, okay? You could read anything from Castaneda to David Icke and anything in between. To think that we're the only beings on this planet or beings only exist if they're in physical bodies is folly. I don't know how else to say it, okay? Mm-hmm. I've had a lot of very scary experiences in my life, very terrifying experiences as a child with what I'll call the dark side. I've had business partners who actually told me to my face that I was too good, you love people too much, and I hate people, and I'm going to work with the dark side to kill as many people as I want. I mean, I've come across all kinds of craziness in my life and a lot of attacks in and outside bodies. Mm-hmm. And in retrospect, I realized it was really just testing my mettle. Mm-hmm. But I don't willingly go up against it. Years ago, I used to do ghost busting. Throughout the country, people would hire me and they had terrible, horrible Amityville type shit happening in their house. I am no longer willing to do that.
Not anymore. I don't do it anymore either. It's just, why? And I used to have seances where I'd have, I was on public radio a lot, so they would pick out a haunted house. I'd go there with all the listeners and stuff. I even went to the one in outside of Denver, Estes Park, where Stephen King wrote his novel, The Shining, and we had a seance there, and that place is haunted, that hotel, and it was unbelievable how you could see the spirits walking by the hallway. It was amazing. But I don't do that any longer because I thought, why? Why should I do that? Just to provide entertainment for listeners?
Well, not even that. I mean, you put your life on the line. About a year or so ago, I had a woman come to me, and I guess her daughter was possessed. And she wanted me to work with her daughter. I didn't know this woman. I didn't know her daughter. And I just looked at her and I said, "Are you Catholic?" And she said, "Yes, I am." I said, "Well, go ask your priest. Let him do the exorcism." I said, let him do the exorcism. I said, let him have that friggin' demon to deal with because I'm out of the demon business. Yeah. But when you were saying earlier, I don't know who helped me or, if it was, my higher power, this and that. People have forgotten just how powerful we are. We have forgotten that we are God. Okay, that got John Lennon in a lot of trouble, but he was aware, he was enlightened. So when you really realize, like Sun Bear said, a lot of people say the things I do are supernatural. He said, but these things have always been very natural until religion came along and said that it wasn't.
Oh my gosh, and it's gone crazy, hasn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we can never forget, and to me, what's more powerful or more knowledgeable than your higher self? Nothing, because that's where you connect to the source. That's where you are part of all that is.
Oh yeah. As soon as I rejected all the stuff that I was saying, and I went back to my natural state of who I am, which is love and one with the source, it just like took couldn't get out of here fast enough. It was the weirdest experience, and I thought that proves how powerful we are when we are connected to love, and we know that we're loved. We are, and every person get to that place and stay there and say it every single day, and every person shifts the vibrational frequency of this planet. So now that I've had this experience with it, boy, this is going in my book, because I talk about this all the time. It's one thing to talk about something. It's another thing to go through it and know that it's true.
Right.
Wow.
All right.
Because we're taught a lot of stuff, and a lot of people say, well, I'm very spiritual, and I'll say, no, you're not. They'll say, what? And they want to walk out on me or yell at me or something. I'll say, because you know a lot of things, but you don't live it.
Right. Well, I want to
know what you know. It's how we live our lives,
Exactly.
And so when I went through this experience, I am now grateful that I got a chance to see just how powerful love is. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, all the years of teaching the medicine wheel and Reiki and whatnot, I've always given out this shortcut, and I want everybody to listen to it and write it down. It's something you can do very simply. You can say it every morning. You can say it when you're in a state of fear or worry. Just something to remember, because it pretty much covers it all. And here it is. I am connected, directed, and protected by the Great Spirit.
I love that. Yes, if that's true.
And I mean, that just covers it all. Sometimes we forget. I forget I forget who it was that said it. I often credit it to Sun Bear, but he said something very profound. He said, if we each knew what walked alongside us every day, we would fear nothing.
Wow, that's really true.
I
love quotations, Maria. I have
know.
Like on my desktop, they change every minute. I have some 5,000. You guys have a computer that allows your desktop to change pictures. Start collecting quotations. I find them on Twitter or at any social media, or just look them up.
Well, they used to have those little calendars. Right, used to have those little daily calendars you could put on your desk and peel one off every day.
Yeah, well, I'm on the computer every day, too.
Right.
Plus, I also have angel cards. And the angel card I picked up during the time of this experience was saying the angels are trying to get you messages. Listen, please listen. They're trying to give you messages. Listen. And I was like, okay.
Right. So for anybody listening at home, if you're going through an experience like this, the first thing I would suggest you do is clean and lock down your chakras. Second thing is absolutely clear your space. Smudge your house.
Smudge the house.
And for those of you who don't know what smudging is, it's any sacred herb. Just burn it and waft the smoke clockwise during the day around your house. If you're doing it at night energy needs to be counterclockwise. Listen, the other day I had somebody in my house that was pretty negative. I thought he was pretty negative. I was trying to figure out, is this guy crazy or is he a visionary? I think I landed on crazy. And I just smudged my whole house after that because I wanted to reclaim my space and I didn't want him leaving any negative energy in my house.
I always use sage. What do you use?
I use sage, but some people use cedar. Or as Sun Bear said, if you want to smoke, remember that smoke is sacred. It carries your prayers to the Great Spirit. But he believed in using pure tobacco. So it's really different, for everybody. I think the common one is sage. But any aromatic herb.
They're like $5 at a health food store, even online.
Right. I mean, it's not, it's not expensive. You can go into a little New Age shop and they usually have them. Here in Arizona, they sell sage bundles everywhere. It doesn't matter what kind of store it is, okay? So you can go into an artist studio and you're going to buy sage bundles, okay? It just seems to be very acceptable here.
Same in California, too. You can actually get them at health food stores, so.
Right, but, if you have a feeling that something is, really awry, or you may have, an energy attached to you. Listen, in all the years I've had so many people that I've read for that have had alien experiences. And very few people that do what you and I do even give any credence to that or believe in it. And some of them legitimately did have implants. some of them did not.
I did. I had it removed. It was right on my neck.
Right. So,
I've had experiences with extraterrestrials since I was 4. But now I'm connecting with a different galaxy, Andromeda. They're scientists, so they give me a lot of ideas. But they have appeared in my bedroom, and they've actually thrown things to let me know they're there. But when they appear as holograms and not holographs. Which is the right word?
A hologram, I think, is right.
Hologram. Yeah, and they don't have, they just telepathically communicate, but they don't really look at you. They look through you, and they're not dangerous, and they don't hurt you. The ones from Orion's were the ones that did a lot of experimental stuff on me, removing ova. And, then later on, they showed me 3 children that they had they said, these are yours, what do we do? Because they don't have emotions. I told my story to Bud Atkins, who wrote a book called The Intruders, and then that information was picked up by Mary Richards, who was a producer from Dallas, and they did a movie called Intruders, and they included my story with it. This was back in the 80s, though. Mm-hmm. I actually found a copy of the movie, and I downloaded it, so I do have it. But, I had a lot. And then finally in the 90s, I said, I've had enough. Do not remove ova. Do not come visit me, because I've seen the crafts about 4 times, and I've never been alone except one time. So I was always with someone else, and that's going to be in my book, that whole story. But, the ones from Orion like to experiment. I'm not interested in those, but from the Pleiades or Orion itself. I like the ones from the next galaxy over the Andromeda galaxy. Those are the scientists. They're about 7 feet tall. They're either blonde hair, blue eye, or they look Asian. That's what they're like. And I remember that when they took a biopsy from the side of my by my ribs, and I remember looking up. I was half asleep and half awake, and it was an Asian-looking woman, and I went, "Ow, that hurts!" And I looked at her. I said, "Oh, you're taking my DNA, aren't you?" Next thing I know, Meria. Right. This is even in one of the interviews I had with David Icahn. It's on YouTube. I was up on a craft, and I was looking at myself being worked on. They were doing surgery on the right side where the appendix is, or liver area. And I'm sitting there. I said, "It's going to hurt because you're not using any anesthesia." And he says, "Oh, it's not going to hurt." So I didn't know if it was my physical body looking at my spiritual body, or if it was my spiritual body looking at my physical body. It was hard to tell because they were both, solid. So he took out some stuff from that right side, and he showed it to me, and it looked like kind of a mushroom color. It's off-white and then kind of grayish and stuff. He said, "Okay, we removed this." Lo and behold, a month later, here I am, a 66-year-old, having an appendicitis attack, which is a rare thing. Appendicitis attacks are usually 18 to 35. Here I am in my 60s, and I had this appendicitis that was, the most painful thing. Went into surgery, and sure enough, it was that right side, and they removed it laparoscopically, and because it had burst, and pus was starting to go everywhere,
Right.
So I think that experience, he was trying to warn me.
Like a premonition.
Exactly. So they're good. They're here to help you. And I thought, wow, this is, when you have experiences like that, it's pretty extraordinary. Mm-hmm. Of course, the experience I had here in the last couple of weeks is now extraordinary, but it was eye-opening.
Right.
So extraterrestrials are good to connect to, but the key is, and with my mediumship work, I connect to many frequencies because I believe what Einstein said, raise your vibratorial frequency to match that which you want and you shall have it. There can be no other way. Life is energy. And he said, this is not philosophy, this is physics. So I thought, okay, all right, we're on to energy, right. Vibratorial frequencies, and dimensions. Mm-hmm. And so when you understand that, that's how we master life. We can all raise our vibratorial frequencies, but the agenda is trying to keep us in fear, and that lowers our frequency.
Well,
so we can't let that happen.
Einstein also said that this whole experience is an illusion, albeit a persistent one.
We say that, and we know that, but then when we go through it, then it's like, oh, yeah.
Well, I always say the hardest part of being here is the human part. But, for some people that, you might want to get a deeper understanding, there's always a lot of stuff that you can watch on television or, streaming now, that is giving you a lot of useful spiritual information in the form of entertainment. And one of my favorite shows, which I think is in its 15th season now, is Supernatural. And the premise of Supernatural, if you don't watch it, Monica, is these 2 young, very handsome brothers, so I could watch them all day long, who are what they call hunters. And they go after all sorts of dark entities on the planet, whether, of course it's a little Hollywood, and whether it's vampires, demons, you name it. But you can see a lot of their techniques are actually valid. So I often wonder, who's writing this show? Another one that I know my listeners, even in the UK, are disappointed that they just canceled is a show called Travelers. Now, Travelers is a perfect show to show the walk-in experience. People from other planets walking into bodies here to help Earth, to help the people of Earth. That's a great show. Some people are just turning on to the old show Roswell, which is a great show if people haven't seen it. And then my granddaughter turned me...
and I can tell you, for those people that can't get this either through Netflix or Amazon or Hulu, I'm going to tell you something right now. There's a lot of people that know, but there's a lot of other people that don't know about this other application. You can actually put it on your computer, or you can get Amazon Prime and you can add it to it. It's called Kodi, Kodi. If you go to YouTube, type in Kodi, and Kodi has every single movie that's been released from 1901 to present, has every television show, every season of every television show, and you can get any of these that she's talking about through Kodi, and it's amazing.
Right. If you have Amazon's Fire Stick, you can get Kodi too. And then my granddaughter turned me on to Netflix's series on Sabrina, the teenage witch. And it also it shows the war between light and dark. A lot of these shows are telling you what's really going on here. But unfortunately, people look at it as just entertainment.
One of the first series that came through was like 1961, and I grew up remembering watching this with my dad. And I said, Dad, I want to do this. These were all true stories based on spiritual things that happened, and it was called One Step Beyond. Do you remember
I remember
that
that show. Of course I do.
Yeah, I actually bought the DVDs because I wanted to, because I looked at my dad and I saw people speaking telepathically, and I saw things that happened that were like unbelievable, but they were all true stories, all of them. That's what I loved about it, and so I don't think it lasted many seasons, maybe 4, something like that, but I have them all on DVD. I went ahead and bought them. And that, if it's black and white, but the host was creepy, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I also like The Truth Is Out There with Mulder, because there is a lot of truth even in that show. All right, we need to take a short break. Monica and I will be right back. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Monnica Sepulveda of Wake Up with Meria and Monnica. You can hear us every second Tuesday of the month. We offer you solutions and tools to help raise your own vibratorial frequency. And as we stay in this light of love, we shift ourselves and the planet shifts by itself. No reason to react to the negativity that's going on this planet when we're all so powerful. So why not use it every morning when you wake up? Actually, I'm doing this promotion for selfish reasons. I just got to tell you that Meria is probably the best. No, I know. She's the best intuitive reader I have ever met in my life, and she's underpaid. Check out her prices and check out mine. There's differences. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. I'm a medium. I contact people who've passed on. But this woman is incredibly accurate with her predictions. I've never met anybody so gifted. She's so wonderful as a friend, and I'm humbled to be on her show. Thank you so much, Meria. Sorry I had to plug you here, but I just have to brag about you. You're that good. Take care, everyone, and make it a great day. Bye.
Hi, this is Maria Heller. If you're enjoying this show, please consider listening to the rest of it, along with hundreds of other hours of education, by a small subscription on my site. Get over to meria.net, meria.net. You are the only thing that supports this show. There's no corporate control, and there's plenty of education on site. So please consider either a subscription or a donation to keep the work going. There are too many alternative voices out there that are being silenced because of lack of support. So if you don't want MSM to be the only mind-controlling news out there, please consider supporting the people that support you and help us all save something for the future for our children. Thank you so much.